and welcome to Two Girls and a Cat's Game of Thrones series. This is a countdown to the final, so it's maybe a little bit longer than what we've done before, just because we missed an episode last week, because there was a lot going on. Someone had a birthday.
21 again.
And someone got a kitten. So we have a new member to the Two Girls family, and he's just down there and he's fast asleep, so we're not getting him out of the show.
Not just yet.
Just yet, but he will make his debut at some point. So this week we're going to talk just about literally leading up to the final of Game of Thrones, which is happening on Monday.
Yes.
Episode 6 and 7.
6. We've just done 6. Yeah.
Have we? So this is episode 7. I know which ones it is. So we last left off where Jaime was blown into the water, was pushed into the water, which we know now was by Bronn.
Yeah.
We all thought it was Dickon Tarly, but it wasn't. It was Bronn, my man Bronn, my mate, not Carol.
Jerome Flynn,
my mate. So yes, he was pushed into the water, and
well, you thought it was the end, didn't you? You thought that was possibly the end of Jaime and whoever it was by Bronn, but not. Washed downstream and end up back home.
Yeah.
King's Landing somehow eventually.
Great time travellers, aren't they?
Really great time travellers, and consequently, and do you know what as well though? Considering that Jaime was just about barbecued by Drogon.
Yeah.
Cersei.
Not bothered.
Just not bothered. Instead, and she says, "Oh, and guess what? I'm up the duff.
I'm in the club
with your child again.
But we know this is not part of our prophecy. She was told she would have 3 kids. They would all wear a crown, and they would all die before she did. So, excuse my French, she's a Billy bullshitter.
She's lying.
She is lying.
So we'll wait and see what the outcome of that is, because we think, as part of our predictions for the finale, is that Cersei's going to majorly be stripped down, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it going to the end, but I think there's going to be a couple of things that bring Cersei's madness to an end, to the point where I really do think we may actually feel sorry for her. I don't know. I really don't know, but we'll talk about that in the end. We'll get the 2 episodes out the way with. So what was this one called? Episode 5. One.
And as well, after we see the aftermath of the battle, you then see that Daenerys says to the survivors, "Bend the knee or die." And you think, God, they try to put forward to the idea of, well, you're no better than Cersei. If you do this, you are just as bad as her. And you think for a minute, you think, oh, do you know what? I think she's actually going to listen to what's being said to her. But no, in true Daenerys style, she says, do you know what though? I'll leave you to Drogon.
And barbecue. Let's have a Tarly barbecue.
An example of 2 who won't, and it was Randall and Dickon Tarly.
Yeah, it was almost satisfying to see Randall Tarly get his. The way he treated Sam, I was actually really happy. But Dickon, I thought
he followed his dad, as he thought his dad was acting with honour and loyalty, and he thought, well, and as well, I think, was it not Daenerys who said, you've got a loyalty towards your sovereign, and I respect that.
Mm-hmm. I'm still going to have a Tarly barbecue.
However, you're still going to die. So
yeah. And then after that happens, ironically, everyone bent the knee, which is what Daenerys has won from everyone.
She does, including Jon. Including Jon. So that continued, and then back at Winterfell, you see that things between Sansa and Arya aren't really going very well.
And thanks to Shifty Finger, they aren't going for it, and it's almost to the point where it's frustrating, because we know the training Arya's had, we know how clever she is. Sansa not so much, but we can see that the dynamic in Sansa's changed. She stood up to Arya quite a few times, not only in that one, but in the latest episode as well. She's not scared to voice her opinion and knock Arya down a few peg or two, but how in the hell can these women not see that they have a shifty finger manipulating the life out of them? I really truly believe when we'll talk about this now because it was a part I didn't really want to see in that episode. I wanted that episode, the last one, to be all about Jon and Arya with the dragons and stuff like that. So Sansa's letter that she wrote in series 2 has come to light, and it was the one that Cersei made her write to get Robb and Catelyn to bend the knee and swear their allegiance to Joffrey, and then made her write it. Catelyn and Robb were so clever and they saw right through it. They knew fine well she didn't write it. She had pretty much.
And if they can see through it, then Arya definitely can.
She has to. Yeah. But now Shifty Fingers using that to try and get the two of them to basically get rid of one. And I think he's trying on the side of Sansa to get rid of Arya because she is the Lady of Winterfell. She does have an army behind her. Arya doesn't.
And I think he's thinking to himself, Jon's gone. Big chance he's not going to come back. Something awful could happen to him when he's away. Yeah. That would make Sansa in charge. And wouldn't it be great if I was her husband?
Wouldn't it just?
He's got it all planned out in his head. But that is clearly
I don't think
not
that's
going to happen.
And I think that was a big indicator was when Sansa found the faces and Arya eventually led on to what she actually is. That instead of killing her, which Arya quite easily could have, she handed her the dagger. And I think it's kind of like his protection. You are going to need it.
Yeah.
And I think
she's done it in such a way so as not to give away the ruse of I'm going to let him think that he's tricked me.
Yes. That I know that he knows. He knows that I know, and I know that he knows. It's one of those where it could go on forever about who knows what. But I don't think it's going to be Arya that kills him, even though I've wanted that for so long. I think it's going to be Sansa, yeah.
Well, she hasn't killed anybody?
No. Can you say Ramsay, or she didn't physically touch him?
Physically kill him, but like physically kill someone?
I just want her to get her. I just want him dead.
Because you think, like all the stuff that happened, especially, and it would be nice for a Stark to do it because of what happened to their dad.
And he had a big, massive part to play in that. So
I think that might be coming. Yeah. If not at the end of season 7.
Yeah. And to round off the episode before the most recent one,
the most important thing that happened is that Joe Dempsey reappeared on our screens, and we're really happy to see him back.
So pleased.
Back on his boat.
Back off his boat.
Well, on and off. He's decided to go and help.
It was Irish man with a Geordie accent. What's his name?
So Davos.
Davos, that's it. He went to the place where he kind of knew he would be, and when Ned Stark first found him in series 1, when he started to discover Robert's bastards, Gendry's not so much bitter with Davos, very happy to see him, knows that it was him who saved his life, and has been literally living under the Lannisters' noses to the point where they've not even realised he's there.
And he's made this warhammer, which is echoes of his father, who used a warhammer to kill Rhaegar Targaryen.
And it also, if anyone noticed, had the beautiful stag, the Baratheon flag on the side of it. So it's almost like
he's accepted
he's a Baratheon, and he's going to use that name. And even though Davos, when he says, I'm going to take you to Jon Snow, even though Davos says, listen, we need to come up with a cover plan, you are this person, and you just come in to help, and Gendry just walks in, kicks the door down, and is like, Gendry, I'm Robert Baratheon's bastard.
And that's
what you going to do about it?
Yes. And him and Jon Snow are back together.
Back together? They've never met each other?
Best of friends? Met each other?
No.
I thought they've met each other.
No. They just share
heard of each other. Is this what it is?
I don't know. I think they have a common ground. They're both bastards.
Well, yeah, they're both their dads were best friends.
Exactly, and I think that's the connection that they have, and that's what Gendry used, was that my dad was your best friend.
Yes. So absolutely loving each other. They are. And
apologies, 2 minutes.
At the end, you see that they then say, right, let's get our shit together
Do this.
and go and sort something out, because Tyrion has this plan of, if Jon were to go and find the Walker, bring it back as proof, then that might change things.
It might change. What they want to do is they want to get Cersei on side. Daenerys is almost there in the thought that if you can get Cersei to help with this, we'll all join together, we'll defeat that, and then we'll go back to our little spat.
We'll be friends for a while.
We'll find this common ground, and then we'll boot Cersei out of King's Landing and we'll take over. Blah 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 blah. But it's the most backward plan I've ever heard in my life. But we go with it because the end of that episode, we see the best squad of all time boot through that door and go past the wall.
It was like the A-Team.
It was amazing. You've got the Brotherhood Without Banners who have been captured at the wall. So the Hound, Beric Dondarrion, and Paul Kate, who I can never remember his name, bless him, he's a priest. And then you've got the ginger guy, Yoren? Apologies, I'm just going to call him the ginger guy because I'm not getting blasted for not knowing his name, even though he's probably the best thing that's in that series. You've got Jon Snow, and you've got the guy who has been in the friend zone since series 1, Jorah Mormont, who is back, who I don't think we mentioned on the one of the episode he was in. He actually got cured of his grayscale by Sam.
He did, yeah, and that's another thing that's worth mentioning about episode 5 is that there's a little nugget of information.
Little.
You see Gilly reading from a book, and she mentions to Sam something like, "Oh, what's an annulment? Oh well, Rhaegar Targaryen." He's like, "Can you just shush?"
He's like,
"I'm trying to do something."
How could they not think that the Night King's a threat? And she's going, "Well, Rhaegar Targaryen had an annulment and married her," and then he cuts her off again, and it's like, oh my god, shut up!
Let her finish her sentence, it's important. And so you then see Sam takes off.
He's gone, he's left
with Gilly and the Baba. Who's now
with little Sam. So that little nugget of information is there. So that means that Jon is a legitimate Targaryen, which means he probably has more right of that throne than Daenerys
because
does.
The men had right, even though he is the generation under Daenerys, if you like.
It's the same as our reign. Like in England, we have our monarch is our king and queen, and it's the first son, and then it would go if that first son had a son, it would go down to him. It would down. It wouldn't go to the brother and sister. So it's the same
down
as ours.
Rather than to the side.
Yes, that's right. So it's the same as ours. Not like in Dawn where it didn't matter. Brother and sister, it was the oldest. It didn't matter who it was just the oldest first, and it didn't go down to children. There's been many theories as to who is actually the legit Queen of the Iron Throne.
I know. There was one the other day we read about Brienne of Tarth being potentially
it's so long.
It's so complicated.
It is, and what I'll do is I'll put a link down below to the article that it came from, because it is worth the read. I don't think it will ever play out in the show, but if you are a book reader, it possibly could be explained in that.
I don't think you could ever put that into a TV show.
Not at all.
Because people would just be like, what? I'm
What?
sorry, I don't follow.
You'd have to have a whole series
it's
just to explain it.
Just to say that Jon Snow is the secret child of Lyanna and Rhaegar,
who were married.
No one knew it, but they were. He is now should be the king of everything. So
drop that, man.
Yeah, Daenerys. Sorry, love.
On your dragon. We'll get to that. Let's get to the dragon. Let's get to that episode.
Because this is the most awful thing, is that episode 6, and it's worth mentioning that these last 2 episodes have been leaked online, which was nice in a way, but also pretty disappointing from HBO's point of view to have that build up.
They've got to be really, really upset with the fact that everything was leaked, and I secretly wish that the last episode was, because I just want to know. I want to know what's happening.
So normally we would have watched it, wouldn't we, by now?
Yeah, but we sat down on Carolyn's B-Day, on her name day, and watched the latest episode. And I'm not ashamed to say I cried like a baby. Behind
So-
that cushion.
So what you see in episode 6 is Jon Snow and his band of merry men go
Suicide
off
Squad.
to the Suicide Squad, go off to capture a walker. Now, people say, was it known
Mm.
by the Night King
Mm.
that they were coming? How would they know? Did they know? Because it was so convenient. They just happened to come across a very small group of them, easy to capture one.
Well,
Let's go. And then all of a sudden, here's the huge army
Yeah.
with the Night King waiting on the hill, surrounds them. It's all very convenient.
but if you remember, the Hound had seen the vision
Yeah.
in the flames, and he directed them to him. So did he know where to take them? And that's why they were there for. I mean, there's a lot of things in this that you've got to question, and we'll get into that.
I mean, that's an interesting thing, you know, that the Hound looked into the fire and saw something. I mean, it's called A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
So, does ice and does fire have the same properties?
It's an interesting thought.
Because quite clearly somebody can use fire to control in the same way that someone would use ice.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we haven't really seen the control of ice within
No.
what's
But
in the
are
wall
we?
at the moment. But are we going to see that going
Are we?
forward? Is it all going to start coming together at the end of season
Yeah.
7?
So the squad heads off into the snow and is first met by a bear, Walker Bear.
Yeah, it's this
Walker
massive like
bear
polar bear thing
that is dead.
that's dead and was pretty brutal.
Gendry. Does a polar bear have blue eyes? No. But what it
Gendry.
does do, it does kill.
It does kill Paul Kay, and Sam was very upset about it. So
Really, really upset.
we won't
'Cause
talk about it too much.
Oh no, I
Very
love them.
upset.
I love them, but it's,
Not as much as what happens at the end.
oh my god, no.
So we see them, they've captured one, and like we said,
What
it
they
ends
did
up-
notice, hang on that bit, what they did notice was when they killed one of the main guys. What are
Yeah.
they called? The White Walker? I don't know.
Well-
are they waves and White Walker? I don't know. The big main guy with the armour on.
if you kill one of the leaders, it kills all of his followers.
But it
And they
didn't
all
kill-
just burst into like bits, didn't they?
Yeah,
They
but
just
there was
exploded.
one that didn't, and their theory was, well, if we kill, he must have created them. That's why they all fell for
If
him.
you kill the one that creates, then yeah.
And
And it's the old theory of, was it, what was said about the Night King? If you kill him, you kill Paul.
you kill them all. So Captain Obvious, Beric Dondarrion, did point that out, which it's kind of obvious. Yes, if the Night King is a king of these, he's obviously created. He is a part of them in some way. So to end them, you need to kill him. I just thought that was pretty obvious. But they managed to get themselves cornered in the worst way possible.
In
But,
the middle of like a frozen lake,
yeah, and
where obviously the walkers
can't
can't
cross.
on water, but
They managed to set Gendry free first
Yeah, they've sent
they
Gendry
send
off to
Gendry
deliver
off.
the message back.
to get Daenerys.
John's like, we need a dragon.
We need Daenerys, and we need her now.
Yeah.
And they've set camp up that's where we lose Paul Kay in the middle of the night.
So Gendry goes back to the wall, and
Gets
he's
Davos.
taken in. Davos finds him, and Daenerys.
She
You
doesn't
just-
even give it a second thought.
You see the quickest decision she's ever made.
Mhm.
Because it's John.
Yeah.
You can see it in her face.
There's a connection. She knows. I don't think she knows what the connection is. I don't know if it's
She just
love
knows
or
that she has to go,
and
and she gets on Drogon, and
takes the other two with her and
she
goes
just
to them.
goes, and within how long.
She does
Um,
arrive, but before that, the most frustrating part of the episode is they realise that they can't cross the water because it breaks as they go over frozen ice and sit in the middle in an island. Yet the Hound decides, in his wisdom, to throw a rock
Because he's bored.
at her, hits one in the face, and
Knocks his jaw off.
does it again, and hits the ice. So the ice it's that cold, it's formed again. So if they can't cross water,
Yeah.
break it. You've got a hammer. You've got swords. You've got a sword that lights up into flames. Break the goddamn water to stop them from getting near. Like, owie.
Well, so anyway,
Oh, that
Daenerys
was so
arrives
annoying.
and totally smokes
we think it's a victory on our side, and it's
because you think John's going to meet his end again, yet again.
I didn't care.
And you kind of like, oh, it's so sweet that obviously Jon and Daenerys are getting the feels for each other, and you think, oh wow, because like we said at the time, it was like if Jon didn't know that he liked Daenerys, he does now.
It's cemented in concrete now. You
could see in his face. It was like, what a woman.
He kind of had a realization that it just. All these Star Trek extras that were coming from absolutely nowhere, where these people were. When I saw these men walk out, I did not see any extras with them, yet anyone who died, it wasn't a major character, it was like a bloody Star Trek extra. It was ridiculous. What do they call them? Like the yellow coats? Like the yellow tops? They always died in Star Trek. It was never the main cast. It was like that. It was ridiculous. But anyways, I go off point. He kind of looks all out of hope, really, doesn't he? And like he's fighting as much as he can, but there's no end. There's literally just walker upon walker coming after him, and then Daenerys swoops in, and he kind of gets a little bit of a jolt.
Yeah.
And then the Night King,
the Olympic javelin thrower that he is,
comes in.
But did you notice though? Obviously, you see these big ice javelins that he's got.
Yeah.
Which again, why were they there? How did he have 3 of them just on standby?
Yeah.
Just
don't they carry them with them all the time? No.
There was 3. Just 3. And to add to that in a minute, so it makes me think that this was all because if Bran and the Night King have this connection,
which we think is
that they do.
I think it's a big plausible theory that Bran in some way is the Night King,
or he's leaking the information.
Or he's there's obviously a connection there. We know that, but it's too much of a Bran. We have seen that Bran can manipulate time, and I don't want to say space, but he can manipulate time. He creates paradoxes. Has he created a paradox where he, in another period of time, is the Night King? Is it a future version of him? Is it a past version of? There's something. I don't know. I just that's how I feel that Bran has something major to do with the Night King. It did seem like a coincidence. Was he manipulating Dany in some way to get her there to bring the 3 dragons?
Well, I just wonder whether or not he knew that this plan was going ahead and it's given them enough heads up to plant the little group that was there, get them to where they need to be,
and take the dragon out.
Take the dragons, and all would be great to go forward.
It was so sad.
The saddest thing in the whole of 7 series nearly of Game of Thrones.
Watching Viserion the dragon. Is it Viserion? Viserion. Just seeing that dragon and Drogon's reaction, that scream when he realised his brother's going down, and it's like, oh my, it was brutal. It was heart-wrenching.
Straight into the frozen lake.
I had to watch it twice.
Viserion, he just gone, and Daenerys' face was like,
what have I
calm rage, wasn't it?
What have I done? I think that was like because Tyrion.
And Jon feels awful.
Well, Tyrion tried to talk her out of it and said by doing nothing, you're doing so. It was something like by doing nothing.
Sometimes by doing nothing is the best thing that you can actually do.
And she's probably thought at that time, God damn it, he was right.
Because I think she thought that by standing back and letting Jon go and do what he needs to do was her doing nothing.
Yeah.
But actually, this is when she should have
done nothing. However, when Jon fell into the water with the white walkers and stuff like that, when he fell in, she did do nothing, because it was either go back for Jon and risk losing another dragon, risk losing the dragon that she was on.
Tyrion's words were resounding in her head, where sometimes you have to just accept that you can't do everything.
And she looked more when eventually Jon with the help of Uncle Benjen,
who comes out of nowhere,
honestly,
swinging his incense thing.
Not the most useless staff there is there? Not at all.
Because we were like, somebody has got to,
and we just didn't comprehend that it could be Benjen. And he sends Jon back to the wall, and I don't know if Daenerys was more upset that Jon is now eventually bent the knee, and they're going to fight this together as his queen, Was she more upset with the fact that Jon could have nearly died, or the fact that she lost a dragon?
Bit of both, I think. Bit of both. I think she's upset in the way that Jon has had to.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
bend,
this computer's doing my
Jon
nothing.
has had to bend the knee to her, because in a way, I think she was quite getting to enjoy the whole thing. But I won't bend the knee to you, and I won't bend the knee to you either.
Yeah, it was
So
like
I think it was kind of like this little flirtation thing they had going, and now he just felt so terrible. And I
don't think he did it out of
thought,
guilt. I think he did it.
Do you know what? Like, you clearly have the upper hand here.
You came, but she came through for him,
and you are the one who helped us to get back.
Jon,
if it wasn't for you, I'd be bloody useless
I
without you.
don't think Jon has any. The whole king and the North thing, I don't think it has any importance on him whatsoever. If the Night King didn't exist, I don't think he would be King of the North. I think he wouldn't have taken it, and he would have upped and left. I think the only reason he is King of the North is to make sure that the North is safe from White Walkers. So for him to bend the knee, for Daenerys to be his queen, and him become Warden of the North, which his father wanted, or uncle once did. I think that's more of his honour than. Rob's thing was the King of the North. That was more important for him. I don't think it is to Jon. The two completely separate people.
I think he feels like, I should do this.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
he
always does the right thing, doesn't he?
Because he's a lot like, as much as Ned isn't his biological father, he was still raised by him, and he still saw Ned was honor bound to the end.
Well, he still thinks that Ned was his father.
But he was raised by this man who was so honor bound that he takes. And as much as Rob was, I still think Rob, there was something not so much Ned in him, more of a Tully. So I think if it never made, if they made Sansa Queen of the North, I didn't think you would care.
And here's something I haven't considered, actually, just we're mentioning Rob, and obviously he's not in you anymore. Thing. In the books, you know that Catelyn reappears with Lady Stoneheart. We haven't seen that,
and I don't think we're going to.
Do you not think we're going to see it?
Because Lady Stoneheart comes back right after the Red Wedding. Her Merrick Paul Kaye's character gives his life to her to bring her back, but her throat's so slit that she cannot talk, and she's on a vengeance, basically. She's like got Arya's list and people who wronged her at the Red Wedding, and the last thing we've seen in the books of, she's got Brienne captured, and she's basically said, I'm either going to kill you or you kill Jaime Lannister. So that's where the whole Brienne thing comes in, where she could be.
Do you not think that would be a really cool storyline to go down? It not now, because we're near the end of season 7, but maybe next season.
Can we also point out I owe a massive apology to anyone who's watched this video and probably screamed at the computer. I was always under the impression this was the last season of Game of Thrones.
But it's not. There's another season.
But it's not. And I'm so happy, but I feel like an absolute idiot thinking we've said, oh, this has got to be wrapped up in so many episodes. This has got to be done in so many episodes. And it's like, okay, we've got another season. And I remember I texted you and I was like, I'm so sorry.
There is a long way to go yet.
So we've got the last episode. It's going to be a longer episode. We know that the Hound has taken the walker that they've got, and he's getting on a boat. So he is heading to King's Landing with that. We saw in the trailer that Daenerys. Have you seen the trailer, the preview trailer? That Daenerys and Jon and Tyrion are all sitting in front of Cersei. I honestly believe that we're going to see the battle of the Hound versus the Mountain. And if that happens, I do think the Hound will come out victorious against his brother. I think he will burn him in fire. That's Cersei's strength taken away. I think with Jaime, we'll find out she is not pregnant. That is her manipulation taken away. Yeah. Cersei is going to be stripped. I don't know if they're going to do it in this episode. I don't know if they're going to do it at all. But Cersei is going to be stripped of everything that she has at this moment that makes her as mad and as powerful as she is. And she's going to be left so vulnerable. And that's what I mean, to the point of where we could possibly feel sorry for her. Because she has had moments where I have felt sorry for her. And I am a Lannister. but that's my prediction for Cersei Lannister. So that's it. Have you got any more to add?
I think the only thing I would say is that, I mean, heading into the final scene, I think we're going to see Jon and Daenerys finally get together. That is the big, obvious prediction.
It
of
is,
all the fans.
but
I think he's also going to find out about his true lineage as well.
Oh, that's going to be so funny.
Sam is going to find him, and I think it's all going to come through.
Yeah.
I think Ginny's going to drop the bombshell.
Yeah.
Sam's going to come through, and that is going to be that.
It's going to be.
I mean, the other thing that quite interesting to read that we were just talking about before was what Sam may have in his possession that could be quite important.
It could. It was the Horn of Winter. No,
it's the one that the welding boss
Mance Rayder
said, "I've got this.
This is what can tear the wall down."
Yeah,
but apparently it's not the real one.
Yeah,
Sam supposedly has it in his possession, and this could be a big thing. I don't know, in helping. I believe Sam Tarly is going to be the silent hero in all of this, because he's going to be the one who gives them all the info for them to use to go and fight. He's going to do what he's done every time. I just love him. And I'm disappointed in myself that I thought when he was going to the Citadel that I don't really care. But then when you say
everything's got to have a purpose.
Yes,
everything has got to have a purpose. I mean, there's been so many. Like I think I was telling you before. I think it was you about. I can't remember. That many fan theories being batted about at the moment.
It really has.
It's because people are arguing over who's the rightful heir to Westeros, who's a Targaryen, who's not Targaryen, and all this sort of thing.
Who's Bran?
Who is Bran?
Are we going to see Bran's vision come into play? The dragon going over King's Landing. Does that mean he's going to walk into a dragon? Is he going to be Drogon? Is he going to be the new Ice Dragon?
I think.
You think
you're going to see Bran go bad?
Bran go bad. Oh, like Breaking Bad.
Go bad. I think you're going to see Bran.
He's going to make some meth.
Make some meth. I think you're going to see Bran. As you see, I think he's going to walk into Viserion. I think you're going to see an Ice Dragon, being one of the other books that George R. Martin wrote. I think you're going to see an Ice Dragon face off with Drogon. And I sometimes just wonder whether or not you're going to see all of the dragons. They're going to go by the end of it. Something else that someone was talking about the other day was whether or not would it be cool to see that Daenerys sacrifices herself or somehow ends up being one of the Knights.
I said at the beginning of this we would see Daenerys and Cersei die. I don't particularly want Daenerys to die now. I'll be devastated. I think she's done everything that we've wanted her to do since series 1, when she had her Dothraki horde, and Khal Drogo, when she had, and she's doing it all now, and she's doing everything we want her to do, but having advice to do the complete opposite. I'm like in Daenerys. I don't particularly care if her or Jon get together. I want her and Jon to know that is her.
But I mean, even if her and Jon did get together, it's not. People was right what they said. It's not beyond the realms of possibilities, because Targaryens were incestuous. So
look at
the way that her brother was with her. It was weird.
But she thought she was marrying her brother. I'm reading the first book again, and she had no idea that she was going to be sold off. She was under the impression, because of her family, she would marry her brother, and them both would be king and queen and go and take the Seven Kingdoms. Cersei's argument has always been that Targaryens marry brother to sister. There's been so much history of the Targaryens and the Lannister family come out within this series. I've absolutely loved it. We've learned
Wouldn't
so
it be
much.
cool? I mean, because there's also the theory that what if Cersei and Jaime are Targaryens? What if dragon may try to smoke Cersei, and she says, "Haha, you can't burn."
I've not heard that one. There's so
Can you
much.
imagine?
That would be quite incredible.
And she would be just like Daenerys.
Yeah, but my mind is so because of how good this season's been. I'm willing to make my mind completely blank and blank out the theories and just wait to see what they give us. Whereas before, I've pondered and thought about it and read all these theories, but I just want to go in there and then watch it and take it in. And I must admit, I'm saying start reading the first book again. Anyone who wants to pick the book up, who's watched the series up to now, read it now. It makes more sense. It makes so much more sense.
But there's even, another theory that, what if Rhaegar isn't really dead? What if he is
Jaqen H'ghar?
The whole link between the rubies. Melisandre uses a ruby to disguise herself.
Thank God.
And the rubies were on Rhaegar's armour when he was hit by Robert Baratheon with the Warhammer. And this tale is that everyone was picking up all these rubies because they were so worth a lot of money.
They would have been.
And then obviously Jaqen H'ghar is able to disguise himself. But even a little bit his character and the way they put his character together, he's got this streak of blonde hair.
Oh, look at you! Brilliant.
So what if he saw something in Arya because, like you said in the books, you are so much like Lyanna.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something in you, and he wants to help. He didn't have to help her. He
didn't.
Decided
and he
to.
could have. When we were talking about this earlier, I said he could have picked Gendry. Could have picked Hotpot. He could have gone for either one of them to get him, because how they met was when he was in that burning car, being transported to. Was it Casterly Rock they went to, where Tywin was? And she became a little maid there, didn't she? Now, he could have asked any one of them to get him out, but he specifically shouted for Arya. Well, it makes a lot of sense. Well,
there you go.
Let's just chuck all the fan theories out there.
If you've got any fan theories, let us know. Write them in the comments below. Put them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Let us know what you think. Who do you think's the rightful heir to the throne?
Heir to the throne.
At the minute, we think we've got it cracked, and we think it is Jon Snow.
We think. We could be wrong.
We're 90% sure that it's Jon.
It could be hot pie.
It could be.
Well, this has been a little bit of an extra long episode, so thank you for bearing with us. Thank you all again for the lovely comments that we're getting still from our reaction videos, and we have new reaction videos coming to you as well. This will hopefully be up by the time the next episode comes out, and the next time you see us for our Game of Thrones series, it's going to be about the last episode. So all the links are down below. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And our artwork is done by the amazing Ray Piles. I'm going to do it every time. I'm sorry, Ray.
We love you,
Ray. We do, Ray. So thank you very much for watching. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.